Ladies and gentlemen, when the body lies down to rest and the eyes close, the mind does not switch off. Instead, it enters a space where the conscious effort fades, and the subconscious rises to the surface. This is the realm where creation continues quietly, without resistance. Too often, people believe that the day ends when they fall asleep, yet in truth, what we carry into sleep is the beginning of what will shape the next day, the next week, and in many ways the path of life itself. Sleep is not an interruption, it is a continuation of creation. Whatever is imprinted on the mind before drifting into unconsciousness becomes the material the subconscious uses to form patterns, beliefs, and even realities. Think of the subconscious like fertile soil. It does not judge what is planted. It simply accepts the seed and begins to nurture it. The seed might be fear, worry, or anger carried from the events of the day, or it could be gratitude, peace, and possibility consciously cultivated before sleep. Both types of seeds grow, and what grows will reflect itself in waking life. That is why it is essential to become aware of the last thoughts, the last emotions, and the last images entertained before surrendering to rest. They do not vanish when sleep begins. They continue to live, moving quietly beneath awareness, shaping internal chemistry, wiring the brain, and preparing the body to meet tomorrow in alignment with whatever was left behind at night's edge. When this understanding becomes clear, it is no longer possible to see sleep as a random act of fatigue. Instead, it becomes a deliberate practice, a moment of choice. If you go to bed replaying stories of limitation or bathing in the tension of the day, you are unconsciously asking your subconscious to strengthen those states within you. You are programming yourself to wake up with the same heaviness. But if you go to bed rehearsing feelings of wholeness, imagining the life you want as though it were already here, and falling asleep in gratitude, you begin to reprogram the very foundation of your being. The subconscious takes those instructions seriously, and while the conscious mind rests, the deeper mind begins its work. Science now shows that the brain does not stop while the body sleeps. Neural connections are strengthened, memories reorganized, and emotional patterns replayed. This is why the final moments before sleep carry so much weight. They become the blueprint for what the brain continues to process and reinforce. By intentionally shaping those moments, you create a new cycle. What you think and feel at night becomes what you embody upon waking, and what you embody attracts experiences that echo back into your life. To understand this is to hold a kind of power, the power to transform every night into a practice of alignment, the power to choose the seeds you plant. Sleep is creation in silence, and when entered with awareness and so damaging, every thought that arises in the mind is not something abstract floating without consequence. Each one carries weight. Each one sets into motion a chain of events within the body. When a thought of fear appears, the body immediately follows by producing chemicals that reflect this fear. The heartbeat shifts, the breath becomes shallow, muscles contract, and the entire system aligns itself with that single pattern. In the same way, when a thought of gratitude arises, the body responds with an entirely different set of signals. The heart rhythm steadies, the breath softens, and the body produces chemicals that bring relaxation, restoration, and balance. In this way, thoughts and feelings are not separate. They are interwoven, and together they create the state in which one exists. This state is not confined within the skin. Every human being radiates a field of energy. Others feel it without needing words. A room can be entered, and immediately the atmosphere is sensed, sometimes heavy, sometimes light, sometimes calm, sometimes charged with tension. This field is the result of the constant dialogue between thoughts and feelings. What the mind entertains becomes what the body expresses, and what the body expresses radiates outward as energy. That energy begins to attract experiences in the outer world that resonate with it, just as a tuning fork will cause another tuned to the same note to vibrate. If anger is carried, more situations appear to confirm it. If joy is embodied, more moments arrive to amplify it. Life begins to mirror the inner state. This is why the quality of thoughts and the depth of feelings matter so greatly. They are not isolated events. They are the architects of experience. To see this clearly is to recognize that one is never a victim of circumstance alone. Circumstances arise, yes, but how they are perceived and the state carried into them determines whether they become heavy burdens or stepping stones. The body is constantly listening to the language of the mind, and the mind is constantly shaping the energy that is projected outward. The cycle is endless. Thought creates feeling, feeling creates energy, and energy attracts reality. In the quiet of night, before the mind releases itself to sleep, this cycle is especially powerful. The thoughts chosen in that moment begin to flood the body with corresponding chemistry, and the feelings generated establish the energy carried into the field of possibility. Sleep then amplifies this state, embedding it deeper into the subconscious. Upon waking, the body already remembers, already leans toward the vibration that was planted the night before. When this understanding becomes lived, each thought is approached with greater care. Not every thought deserves attention, for not every thought builds the kind of life one wishes to create. But when awareness is brought to this process, thoughts can be chosen deliberately, feelings can be cultivated intentionally, and the energy radiated becomes a magnet for the experiences aligned with those choices. When the day comes to an end, many treat sleep as nothing more than an escape from exhaustion, a collapse of the body after long hours of activity. Yet to view it this way is to overlook the immense potential hidden within this nightly passage. Sleep can become something more than rest. It can be approached as a ritual, a sacred threshold, where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. To see it in this way is to change the quality of life itself. Rituals are not about grand gestures. They are about intention. It is the intention that transforms a simple act into something meaningful. Lying down on a bed may appear the same on the outside whether one is burdened with stress or filled with gratitude, but inwardly there is a vast difference. When sleep is entered with awareness, it ceases to be random. It becomes a practice of alignment, a deliberate preparation of the inner world before stepping into the dream world. Many people allow the unresolved noise of the day to dictate the state in which they fall asleep. They replay arguments, carry frustrations, or immerse themselves in distractions until the body can no longer stay awake. What follows is a restless sleep where the subconscious continues to process the same turbulence. Morning then arrives, and with it comes the weight of yesterday carried forward. This cycle repeats endlessly unless it is interrupted with consciousness. To transform this, one must pause before surrendering to rest. Instead of collapsing unconsciously, take a few moments to breathe deeply, to let the rhythm of the body slow down. Feel the bed not as a place of escape, but as a place of renewal. Close the eyes not to shut out the world, but to turn attention inward. In that stillness, choose the quality you wish to carry into the night. Choose gratitude over worry, peace over conflict, hope over despair. When this choice is made with sincerity, sleep becomes more than sleep. It becomes a healing ground where the body restores itself and the mind resets its patterns. The subconscious, instead of feeding on chaos, feeds on harmony. Dreams shift in tone, the body rests more deeply, and the spirit rises in strength. By turning sleep into ritual, one is not losing time but gaining life. This practice does not require long hours or complex steps. It requires only awareness and intention. A short reflection of the day, a breath of release, a focus on what is truly valued. These small acts, when performed consistently, reshape the entire relationship with rest. The night becomes a bridge between who you were during the day and who you will be in the morning. To walk across it with awareness is to ensure that you awaken not as the same person who lay down, but as someone renewed, more aligned, and more open to the abundance that life constantly offers. Place your hand gently upon the chest and feel the steady rhythm within. This beating is not commanded by thought, not forced by will. It is life itself, continuing silently, faithfully, with no demand in return. To rest attention here is to come into contact with something that is both deeply personal and universally shared. The heart is not only an organ moving blood. It is the center where emotion, intention, and energy converge. When you choose to bring awareness to it before sleep, you invite balance into the body and clarity into the mind. There is a simple truth. Whatever emotion fills the heart before rest does not disappear. It lingers, it imprints, it becomes the tone carried into the subconscious. If frustration is left unresolved, it vibrates throughout the night. If gratitude is cultivated, it creates harmony that guides the body into deeper states of restoration. This is why the moments before sleep are so precious. They set the stage for the hours that follow. Gratitude, when practiced sincerely, shifts the entire state of being. It is impossible to feel truly grateful and at the same time feel lack. To focus on what is abundant, even in small things, is to open the heart. And when the heart opens, the body responds. The breath eases, the nervous system calms, and the chemistry of stress begins to dissolve. In its place, new signals are sent, signals of safety, signals of balance, signals that prepare the body not for struggle, but for renewal. Science reveals that the heart and the brain are in constant communication. When the heart is coherent, when its rhythm is smooth and steady, the brain synchronizes with it. This harmony creates a state where clarity, creativity, and peace are natural. Before sleep, generating this state is like handing the subconscious a map toward healing and abundance. The instructions become simple. Remember this feeling, amplify it, carry it forward into tomorrow. To cultivate such coherence requires no complex ritual. It begins by placing attention on the heart, breathing as though through this space, and evoking a genuine feeling of appreciation. Not forced, not mechanical, but real. Perhaps it is for a moment of kindness experienced during the day, or for the simple gift of being alive. The object is less important than the sincerity of the feeling. Once touched, this feeling expands naturally, like ripples spreading across water. As this practice deepens, the boundary between inner and outer begins to blur. The energy radiated from the heart does not remain inside. It extends outward, influencing the field around you, shaping interactions and attracting experiences that resonate with the state you embody. To fall asleep in this condition is to align yourself with the greater order of life, to surrender not in tension but in harmony. And from this harmony flows abundance, not because it is demanded, but because it is the natural response of a universe that reflects the energy we carry within. Before the body drifts into the stillness of sleep, there is a powerful opportunity often overlooked, the chance to rehearse the future. The images and emotions one entertains in this delicate transition between waking and dreaming are absorbed directly by the subconscious, which does not measure them against past experiences or external evidence. To the deeper layers of the mind, imagination and reality hold the same weight. What is vividly pictured and deeply felt becomes instruction, and the body begins to organize itself in alignment with that inner command. To sit quietly before sleep and envision the life one wishes to live, is to write the script for tomorrow. But it is not enough to simply think about it as a distant possibility. The real power lies in feeling it as if it is already unfolding. If one imagines abundance but feels lack, the subconscious receives the message of lack. If one imagines health but feels doubt, the subconscious receives the message of doubt. The practice requires full embodiment: the sights, the sounds, the emotions, the gratitude for a reality already lived. When the mind and body are immersed in this state, the subconscious begins to accept it as truth. This is more than fantasy. Neuroscience shows that mental rehearsal activates the same neural pathways as actual experience. The brain does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically encountered. When repeated consistently, new connections form, old patterns dissolve, and the nervous system adapts to support the vision rehearsed. The body begins to live as if the future has already arrived, and this state becomes the magnet that attracts matching experiences in the external world. Dreaming consciously before sleep is like planting seeds in fertile soil. During the night, as the body restores and the conscious mind withdraws, the subconscious continues to nurture these seeds. By morning, the chemistry of the body already reflects the vision held the night before. The heart beats with greater coherence, the brain waves carry greater order, and the energy projected into the world carries a new frequency. This is how inner rehearsal becomes outer reality. It is important to approach this not with desperation, but with joy. The purpose is not to chase a different life, but to embody it now, to rest in the feeling of already being whole, already being abundant, already being in harmony. This subtle shift from wanting to being is what creates alignment. When one feels lack, life reflects lack. When one feels fullness, life reflects fullness. The practice before sleep is therefore not about asking for something outside, but about awakening the state within. Each night offers this chance. Each night allows the rehearsal of a more expansive self. To take it seriously is to shape destiny. To neglect it is to remain a servant to old patterns. But to practice it with sincerity is to step into the role of creator, letting sleep become not just rest, but the bridge toward a life of abundance and wholeness. There is a simple law that governs much of life. What you carry within will inevitably be mirrored outside. To understand this is to realize that abundance is never something that must be hunted, forced, or chased. It is not a prize waiting at the end of endless effort. It is the reflection of the state one embodies. If the heart is filled with fear, the world seems filled with threats. If the mind is saturated with lack, the world seems to withhold. But when the inner state shifts into wholeness and gratitude, the outer world rearranges itself to echo that same vibration. To lie down in fear is to plant seeds of fear that grow overnight. The body rehearses the same patterns, the subconscious repeats the same stories, and the morning begins with the weight of yesterday. This cycle can continue for years, keeping one trapped in the same struggles. Yet the cycle is not unbreakable. By changing the inner state before sleep, by embodying abundance rather than longing for it, a new pattern is set in motion. The subconscious receives the message that abundance is already present, and from this perspective life begins to unfold differently. It is not about pretending or forcing a false belief. It is about touching the genuine feeling of being enough, having enough, and being deeply connected to life itself. This shift does not require external evidence. It requires sincerity. Even in small moments, acknowledging the breath, appreciating a kind word, feeling the warmth of a bed beneath you. There is abundance already present. When this recognition grows, it is no longer possible to fall asleep in a state of emptiness. Instead, you rest in fullness, and fullness naturally attracts more of itself. The universe is not responding to words spoken or desires written down. It is responding to energy. The energy one radiates is determined by the thoughts and feelings cultivated within. To embody abundance is to vibrate in harmony with it, and this resonance draws corresponding experiences. Just as a tuning fork set into motion causes another to vibrate at the same frequency, the state carried inside awakens matching possibilities outside. This is why sleep becomes such a powerful doorway. Before surrendering consciousness, the energy embodied settles deeply into the subconscious, guiding the body and mind throughout the night. If that energy is fear, fear becomes stronger. If it is wholeness, wholeness expands. By morning, the body already remembers, the mind already expects, and the day unfolds as a reflection of what was lived inwardly. Abundance does not need to be demanded. It arrives naturally when there is no resistance, when the inner state no longer contradicts it. The more one embodies love, gratitude, and wholeness, the less effort is required to draw experiences of abundance. In this way, the practice is not about striving but about allowing. Each night before sleep offers the chance to embody this truth, to surrender into a state where abundance is not pursued but welcomed, not distant but present, not outside but within.